After one of the most dramatic swings of the Yankees season gave them 5 consecutive wins, the eyes of the baseball world once again turned to Fenway Park. It's Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees vs. Red Sox, in a likely wild card game preview. On the mound for the Yankees, Jordan Montgomery, who has lived up to his reputation as a consistent, dependable lefty in 2021. Will that trend continue tonight? My recap, your reactions, next. This is Yankees Game Night. I tell you what, I'm happy that it's finally cold enough that I can break out the hoodie. Right? Happy fall, everybody. First third of this 9-game gauntlet that the Yankees are staring down is over, and it pretty much could not have gone any better. The Yankees have just swept the Boston Red Sox in Boston. Blue Jays did win today, so the Yankees needed to win to avoid losing ground in the wild card race, and they come through with another humongous 8th inning. Be sure to vote for the belt winner. Looks like Stanton is looking to repeat, but we do need to give some attention to Clay Holmes, who was great tonight, Aaron Judge, who was great tonight. We will award the hardware after the recap. You know, some recaps are kind of short. This one is a little bit lengthy because it was kind of a crazy game, so hang in there and we will award the belt in just a minute. So DJ LeMahieu led off the game with a base hit, but Rizzo bounced into a double play. Yankees continue to extend their far and away American League lead in double plays hit into. Jordan Montgomery and Eduardo Rodriguez were both very sharp early. DJ LeMahieu, who's playing through kind of a hip and groin issue, made an outstanding play at third base in the bottom of the third, capped off by a great scoop from Platinum Glove winner Anthony Rizzo. Voit, by the way, on the bench again tonight. Red Sox go up 1-0 on a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the fourth. Looked for a second like it was heading out of the ballpark. It was hit really high and it was really zoomed out, but ends up hanging in there. Yankees answer back right away. Top of the fifth, Gleyber Torres falls behind in the count, but ends up drawing a walk. Really good at bat by Gleyber Torres. And I also noticed on his foul balls, he's staying a little bit more balanced. Could explain why he's hitting much better lately. Gary Sanchez follows up with a seeing eye base hit through the left side, and then Gardy lines a single to center field to load the bases. And then Urshela bounces into a double play, and a run scores to tie the game at 1. And then the second double play, first of all, that was the second double play of the night for the Yankees. But then DJ singles to make it 2-1. Yanks turn a double play of their own in the bottom of the fifth. Another really nice play from DJ. Monty works into and out of trouble. Red Sox leave. 2 men on board. Monty was done after 5 innings in favor of Clay Holmes. Final line for Monty was 5 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Once again, kept the ball in the ballpark, threw strikes, only threw 70 pitches. Kind of a quick hook from Aaron Boone. 3.49 ERA on the season for Jordan Montgomery. I've said it time and time again. I trust Jordan Montgomery. I trust him in big games. He's not always going to go deep into the game, but he's going to give you a chance to win. Clay Holmes struck out the side on 11 dominant pitches in the top of the 6th. That's one of those trades that's really working out for the Yankees. Kudos to Brian Cashman on that one. And that guy, I don't know how anybody ever gets a hit on his sinker. 97, 98, 99 with a ton of late movement in on the hands. I just don't know how anybody ever hits it. Weird moment in the 7th. Boone allows Holmes to come out to warm up, but then removes him for Joely Rodriguez, who will face a left-handed hitter, I think it was Shaw. And this was another instance of Boone kind of overthinking the room a little bit. I feel like, Holmes was throwing well. See what you can get out of him, rather than letting the stat book kind of dictate the situation. Rodriguez immediately allows 2 hits, a wild pitch, and a sac fly before Chad Green comes in to take over for him with the game tied at 2. Green got the first hitter on a strikeout with the benefit of a bad call by Joe West. And my buddy Tom would like to contribute that Joe West is blind and needs to retire. And I wholeheartedly agree. I don't know where the button is right now. Schwarber ends up popping up into third base foul territory, and DJ drops it. Should have been the third out. Then he gets a second pop-up to shallow left, and Gallo comes in and says, I can do that. He drops it too. 2 dropped pop-ups in a row to give the Red Sox a 3-2 lead. I don't think I've ever seen that on a professional diamond. 2 major league ball players dropping pop-ups in a row. It didn't look like it was crazy windy tonight, but maybe it was. It looked like both balls were kind of drifting in the same way. But later on in the game, there was another pop-up to right field, and Aaron Judge was sure to catch it with 2 hands. So that's one way you can, counteract tough wind is, get underneath it and you cradle it with that second hand. 2 hands, boys and girls. Gio walks in the top of the 8th, and Tyler Wade pinch runs for him and gets thrown out trying to steal. Like he might have hurt himself. DJ walks. Rizzo doubles the first extra base hit of the night. Hardest hit ball of his career to this point, 115.2 miles per hour. That put runners on second and third with 1 out. Judge appears to strike out, but the catcher drops it on the transfer. So we get the benefit of the call there. And Judge takes another swing and scalds one into the gap off of Adam Ottavino. Second consecutive double for the Yankees. That one made it 4-3. And then Giancarlo Stanton, who is leading in the belt vote, makes it 6-3 with another home run, his 3rd straight game with a home run. He is owning the Red Sox. 34 on the season now, 10 RBIs in the series. I want to have his very muscular babies. I am in love with Giancarlo Stanton, Mr. John Sterling.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
And the belt voting is now closed. Belt winner. Giancarlo Stanton does it again. Every night it seems this guy's coming through, in this series anyway. I thought about putting up highlights from the entire sweep, but I decided just to keep it this game. I kind of tilted my display there so it's a little more straight on tonight. This was a big victory. Giancarlo Stanton continues to impress me with how clutch he's been. We've got a couple of super chats I saw come through. First one is from Shane Johnson. Says, Judge and Stanton saved the season and Boone's job for now. And I agree.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Now, the season could very well still end in the playoffs or in a wild card game, or even, you don't make it. But it's looking more and more like the Yankees are at least going to play for the wild card. They now lead and would host the game. So if the Yankees just keep winning, they've got a good chance to host the wild card, which makes you feel a lot better. Let's see. Aiden Clark says Stan should sign his name and date on the dugout. Yeah, Stanton, this is going to be one that he wants to remember for the rest of his life. Ronnie predicted this Boston Massacre. Says, sweep at Fenway to tie the division, 2006. 5-game sweep at Fenway to pad the division lead in 2021. Oh, so 78 was the sweep at Fenway to tie the division. 2006 was the 5-game sweep. I thought it was 2005, but I guess it was 2006. And then 3-game sweep to take the lead in the wild card away from Boston. Appreciate the dono from Ronnie, Dono Legend. Ronnie, the Dono Legend. 3 home runs and 10 RBIs for Stanton. Stanton now has I think, 93, 94. He's got over 90 RBIs. He had 91 yesterday, so he hits 2 more today, so 93 RBIs. Wow. Let's see here. Brett Deutsch says, Joely has absolutely awful righty splits. Boone got outmanaged there, taking out Holmes. Yeah, I would have left Holmes in. I don't care about the splits in that situation. There are times when a manager should go to matchups, and there's times when you've got to just go use your eyes. And it was clear that Holmes was just dominating. 11 pitches through the heart of the order. He was just unstoppable. And I saw no reason to take him out there. I saw no reason. Now you use an extra pitcher. You do have a day off tomorrow, so you rest the bullpen a little bit. But I definitely would have left Holmes in there. The Earl of Demise, welcome back for the first time in a while, says, Big Giancarlo hits it to Stanton Island. Feared by man and fiend alike. It's the Earl of Demise. Unhinged Yankee says he could kiss Giancarlo Stanton on the mouth right now. I'd give him a little tongue. I'll tell you what. Puerto Rican Veteran says, I'm on cloud 9, Mr. Board Rican veteran. Puerto Rico. Oh. Another super chat here. Jacob Berger says LeMahieu had a nice game. Appreciate the dono, Jacob. What struck me about LeMahieu, he did have a couple of big hits tonight, but his defense over there at third base was terrific. He had a fabulous night. I mean, forget the pop-up. I guess you can't forget the pop-up. The pop-up happened. It mattered. But to me, he looked good on those hard, sharp ground balls. Shifting him over to third base with Urshela at shortstop gives you a really good left side of the infield. And let's not forget about Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has looked a lot better at second base. Doesn't he just look more comfortable? The ball takes a little bit, I guess, less time to get there usually. I don't know. He just seems like he's not rushed. Or he has more time for the throw for sure. Let's see. William Morler says Stanton was the main man all weekend long. Yeah, he was fantastic. Let's hear it for Giancarlo Stanton. Let's see here. Danny Corner says, say aye if you hate Joey or Alex Cora. I don't hate anybody for being a manager. I actually think Alex Cora is a great manager, and I would take him on the Yankees in a second. Puerto Rican veteran says, someone tell Wade that you need more speed to steal. So appreciate the dono. One away from the combo breaker. So Wade, on the first one, it looked like he slowed down going into second. Was I imagining that? It looked to me like he didn't slide, and it looked like he was kind of pulling up going into second. Maybe he got deked out by the runner. I don't know. But he pulled up a little bit and got nailed. And then the second time, he just got thrown out. It looked the first time like he kind of hurt his ankle, maybe. Kind of rolled over his ankle. That might have been a little bit of crocodile tears just because he was embarrassed to get thrown out on such an awkward slide. But, yeah, I 100% agree with you that he needs to get a little bit better at base running before he attempts to make any more steals. Finalage, I can't pronounce that. Finalage says, Stanton hits baseballs like few do, especially when he's on. So they said about Lou Gehrig that he would hit baseballs by outfielders as if they were infielders. And that's the feeling I get from Giancarlo sometime. Another salute to Giancarlo. Big G made history tonight with his 3 home runs and 10 RBIs in a series against Boston. Only the 4th Yankee to do that. I did catch that stat. I did not see who the other 3 were. So if anybody has the other 3, drop them in the chat. Damian Green says Stanton's wiki already has him listed as the father of the Red Sox. So Daniel says Wade thought it was ball 4. So maybe he did get deked. You know, sometimes you can, as a infielder, if that's happening, you could say, yeah, ball 4. Or hold up, ball 4. And then the ball's coming in. That's gamesmanship. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you exactly what happened, but you got to go hard into second no matter what. You can't get deked right there. Marius MJ says, love you, buddy. Love you too, MJ. Lori C says, what happened with Gleyber? Are these injuries with Judge and Gallo bad? I haven't seen a post-game report. They all stayed in the lineup. So I'm guessing everybody's okay. Everybody's a little beat up this time of year. You have a day off. It didn't look like anything too serious. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and say I hope everybody's okay. Let's see here. Ashlyn says, any thoughts on why Voit is being benched? Perhaps he is a risk and these games are too important. Ashlyn, you're getting into custom dono territory here. So that's an interesting topic that you bring up because you've got a right-handed hitter in Voit who led the American League in home runs last year. And since coming back, he's hit home runs at a pretty high rate. But you can't put him in the field over Rizzo. And Rizzo got a big hit tonight. And they wanted to keep Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup. Can't play him in the outfield in Fenway. He has before, but, you don't want to risk it tonight. And, maybe he's, I don't know if he's feeling something or whatever. but he's still in there swinging the bat. You want to make sure his bat stays in the lineup. That's a good question. If I'm Luke Voit, I'm pissed off, but it's Luke Voit's own fault for not staying healthy and for not being better at defense. I honestly think that how the Yankees have handled this series has made it impossible for them to keep Luke Voit next year. Impossible. I mean, you can't sit the guy down like this and then bring him back next year and be like, well, he's going to be our starting first baseman. You've already said he's not good enough defensively. And offensively, he's good enough to bring somebody some value. If they do add the DH in the National League next year, I think you'll see him moved to a National League team. And Mark Stanaroo says, Voit hasn't been hitting, too risky to play him now. I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree too, because when you do play him, you have to give him 10, 12 at-bats, but then he starts hitting, and he hits when he gets more at-bats. But you can't play him too many games in a row because of this whole, clogged up situation with the roster at first base and DH. Makes me wonder if they're even going to include Luke Voit on the postseason roster. That will be interesting. Silo Ren, says, how about Clay Holmes? He was terrific. He was fantastic.
I wholeheartedly agree.
He was dominant. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but, people filter in later on as these things go along. He was tremendous. That's going to be one of Brian Cashman's best pickups in his tenure with the Yankees. I can see this guy becoming a dominant reliever for 4 to 5 years. He reminds me of Zach Britton when Zach Britton was with the Orioles. That's the kind of velocity and sink he gets. 97, 98, 99 with nasty movement. He stopped throwing the curveball. He's throwing more strikes as a Yankee. Apparently he had trouble throwing the curveball for strikes, and that would lead to some bad counts. He's just being aggressive with the sinker in the zone. And that's all it takes for a guy who has that kind of stuff. Aiden Clark says, Joe West should have gotten the belt. Oh, Joe West. Danny Corner says, Gary DH in a wild card game. Against Chris Sale, you're going to go with a righty. Yeah, I think maybe. I think they might leave Luke Voit off of the roster for the wild card game and carry a third catcher. And then that allows you to DH Gary Sanchez against Chris Sale. Although I feel like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like Gary doesn't hit Chris Sale very well. I could be wrong on that. Jeffrey Elwood says, Rizzo's going to want to get paid, and the team still has control over Voit. Yeah, I don't know if the Yankees are going to bring back Rizzo. I mean, you got to think about how the Yankees allocate their funds. This year they didn't have a lot of money allocated towards first base, and right now Rizzo's playing for them on the Cubs dime. But they're going to have to reallocate their funds next year if they want to spend $15, $20 million on a first baseman by signing Anthony Rizzo, which is why I think it makes more sense to part with one of your prospects and go out and get Matt Olson. I don't know if the A's would trade Matt Olson. They probably wouldn't. You probably call them up, say, hey, we want Matt Olson. They tell you to get lost, to go kick rocks, and I wouldn't blame them. But if I'm Brian Cashman or whoever takes over for Brian Cashman, they need to make that call. It's the only responsible thing to do. Gigi says, I love Voit, but if we could trade him in a package for a good second ace behind Cole, we should do it. It's a possibility, but I wouldn't think that you could get a second ace for a first baseman who doesn't play great defense and is injury prone. I think you could probably get a relief pitcher for him. You could probably get somebody of Clay Holmes's ilk, if not better, for him. If the Yankees want a second ace, there's a couple of them waiting out there to get paid. I think Carlos Rodon, I think he's only 28, 29 years old. He would be a perfect fit with the Yankees. He's got an upper 90s fastball. He's got a good slider. He's aggressive. He's broke out this year, former top draft pick. And then you've got Robbie Ray, who you would have the added benefit of stealing from the Toronto Blue Jays. Turn 3 says, Joe West hooked us up tonight. 100%. Jonathan Amparo says, get a new catcher. I don't think Gary is going to cut it. Look, I don't want to spend the night of a victory kind of crapping on anybody. But Gary Sanchez, to me, he is what he's going to be. He's not going to improve much. You can't count on him year after year to keep improving. I think that despite him not hitting very much, Kyle Higashioka really could be an everyday catcher. He's great defensively. The pitchers seem to like throwing to him. He's got a decent arm. It's not as good as Gary's. And he'll occasionally run into a big hit. He's got a little bit of pop. Seems to come through in clutch situations. I would love to see him get a shot. But if I had to predict what's going to happen, I think they're going to stick with Gary behind the dish. I really do. I think the Yankees are going to ride that one until he's a free agent, and then they're going to let him walk. I think that's what's going to happen. Tony Stark's nephew says Clay Holmes was nothing but money tonight. Answer to the previous three is Ruth, Mantle, and Garrick. Appreciate the dono. That is good company. That is excellent company. And William Moser says, Boston, sweep, baby, sweep. One more time from Mr. John Sterling.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
One last question says, Jonathan Amparo says, do you still move on from Stanton at the end of the year? Hell no. I'm happy to admit that I got that one wrong. I was thinking they might try and move Stanton. He looked dead in the water in, probably May or so. And at times this year, he's had really bad months. But this man comes up clutch time and time again. Giancarlo Stanton, I love you very much. I will see everybody after the Tuesday night game. Yankees go to Toronto. They will seek their 7th consecutive victory. Great job by Jordan Montgomery this evening. Yankees win this one. I'll see you next time. Special shout out to the Patreon supporters and anyone else who has supported this channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it the old thumbs up and subscribe for more Yankees content year-round. If you really enjoyed it, check out the Frieze. It's the official podcast of this channel. Or pick up some swag from the Teespring store. Link in the description. Thanks for watching.